Hi, I'm Malia Russell with Homemaking 911, and today I want to share with you a topic that I hope will give you some encouragement during these times of rising prices. Today we're going to talk about how to always know that you're getting the best price at the grocery store. Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how to know you're always getting the best price at the grocery. That is something that has plagued me for years, is wanting to make sure that if I'm spending my money, I'm getting the best bang for it. You probably realize by now that there are sales cycles at the grocery. I'm sure this is something you've heard on 100 other videos. But what I want to talk to you about is how to take advantage of those sales cycles in a way that's methodical so that you can always know you are getting the best price. The easiest way to do this is to keep a price book. That means you want to take a little notebook or a thing in your phone and think through what are the things you use the very most. So you can do that easily by pulling your last month's grocery receipts. Just keep them for a few weeks if you haven't started a price book before, and then you can go through your grocery receipts and write down the things that you're buying every week and what prices you're paying for them. That's a very good starting point. But then you want to know, am I getting the best price for these things? So the thing that I like to do is if I identify 10 things this week that I know I buy very regularly, I can then go on to different stores' apps and see what price they have for that item as a unit price. You can look at several of the stores in your area, and you can look at different online purchasing options. Even if you only shop at one store, this will give you a good starting point to know what the lowest price in your area is, because as you know, the prices fluctuate up and down even at your own favorite store. Another way to check your prices to see when you have a really good price on something is to look for other people who are doing this, online bloggers, and see what prices they say are the best stock up price for things. Another thing to do is to consider stocking up at holidays for things that you can use year round. Some of these things might be things like at Christmas you can buy just plain red or white or gold wrapping paper that you can use year round. Oftentimes at Christmas they'll have certain snacky items that get special branding. So for example, one year we found Oreos, my kid's favorite cookie snack, in the Christmas edition. The only difference for the cookies were that the round part had a snowflake on it. And so we stocked up for 3 months worth of those cookies. Hand soap often goes on sale with different holidays. Goldfish crackers, weirdly, are often marked for certain holidays. So for example, this year they had a Halloween edition. The only difference of the product was the box. Paper plates, those types of things, if you use them for different gatherings for your family, stock up after a holiday. If you have to buy something just because you need it for a recipe or you need it for a meal, I recommend that you buy one, or sometimes you can say buy one for now, two for later. So no more than 3 of an item unless it's at a stock up price. But if you see something at its rock bottom price, and here's where your price book will really help you, I recommend getting 3 months worth of that product. If you don't know exactly what you use up in 3 months, then say 12 is going to be the number that you stock up to. The reason why I do that number is because it's not overwhelming to keep 12 extra of something, but it can be overwhelming if you have dozens and dozens and dozens of something that you're not going to really use up quick enough. You don't want to buy anything that's going to go bad before its expiration date. When I do stock up on something, I like to keep what I call a do not buy list. So in my phone app, I have a grocery list. That's where kids and my husband and I can add things to the list that we need to buy at the grocery. But I also have in there a do not buy list. And on that list, I have a list of things that I have stocked up on and where I have stored it in my house. I have a very small kitchen, and so we sometimes put things above the fridge in that cabinet that's really hard to access. So I don't see that on a daily basis. Also, we have some other places where we might store some foods, so it helps me to note where they are. I might put above fridge or in the basement closet, or whatever little clue will help me know where I have stored that item, because there's nothing worse than stocking up on something, forgetting that you have it or where you put it, and then not using it and it goes bad. So that is one of the things that I try to do if I do find something at its stock up price. If You've purchased at the stock up price and you got your 12 and 2 months go by and it comes back to its stock up price again. I don't necessarily buy 12 more at that price. I just stock back up my pantry to the number 12 or to my 3 months supply. So that helps keep that supply full. Then I rotate that stock. I'll check the expiration dates. I'll move the things that are going to expire to the most prominent position. I'll just take a Sharpie and write really big on the product the expiration date. That way the next time I go in and I'm trying to rotate stock, I can quickly see the expiration dates. This also helps if you have kids going into your pantry. So, when we stock up on peanut butter, on the lid, I'll write the dates and I ask the kids to remember to always pull from the closest date so that things aren't going out of date. Another really important tip for getting your groceries always at the lowest price is to only stock up on things that you know your family will like and will use. It's useless if you get a huge quantity of something you don't like and won't eat. And so just be really careful when you're thinking about stocking up to just stick with things that you already know you love. If you see a price that's really great on a product that you're not sure about, buy 1 or 2 and test it with your family first. Then the next time it comes back around to being the lowest price, then you'll know, oh, we love this or we didn't love this. It's also okay to write that in your price book. We don't like such and such brand. In fact, I discovered that a salsa brand that I have bought a few times, I was like, I don't like this brand. Why do I keep buying it? And it's because when I go to the store, I can't remember what brand it was. So now I put it in my phone in my do not buy list. I have that name salsa and its brand and the flavor it was so that I'm sure not to keep getting it again and again. Another thing to be willing to do is to get a different size of things than you're used to. So for example, eggs have gotten outrageously priced in our country during different parts of the year. How much are eggs where you are now? Are they coming down? Let me know what prices you're paying right now. Well, what I learned is if you bought the 5 dozen pack, that's the cheapest price I've been able to find. But having 5 dozen egg pack is like a big box in my fridge, and that doesn't fit very well with the way we put our groceries in our fridge. So what I started to do was to keep the nice cartons that are the right size to put into our fridge. I would keep those after we emptied those eggs out. And then when I'd get the huge carton, I would put them down into the smaller cartons that can be put in different parts of my fridge where they fit a lot better. And that's also another way that I could split those eggs. I can ask her, did she get a good price for eggs, what her price was, and I can say, well, here's the price I got. Do you want to split it? And I could send out a carton or 2 easier that way than trying to put them into something and keep them safe till they get to her house. Another thing you can get a weird size on are roasts. If you go to the grocery store and you see that they have these huge roasts for sale, sometimes they'll put a great big roast at a very low price. You can take that roast straight to the butcher counter and you can ask them, can you slice this for me to make steaks? Can you cut it into fourths so it's easier to fit in my crock pot? Or whatever it is. So for our family, I prefer a 3-pound roast. That's enough to make us a meal and have a little bit of leftovers, but not have a ton of leftovers that are going to dry out in the fridge. Something to be cognizant of is when you start getting good deals on things, it can be easy to buy a lot at one time and then realize it's maybe not going to be used up before it goes bad. And so one of the things I want to remind you about is to be sure to think about zero waste as you're shopping and how you shop for foods. And then as you notice things maybe aren't going to get used up, feel free to find another way to use it quickly so that it doesn't go bad. So you can dehydrate things, you can things, you can freeze a lot of things, and you can also take those items and make a meal for later, freeze that meal and put it in the freezer for another time. Another great tip is to let your friends know items that you're looking for at a good price. I have frequently had people text me, hey, what's the best price for eggs in Louisville? Or hey, I need to get butter. Have you seen a good price around town? That will help your friends know the kind of things you're looking for. And then when I see a great price, I'll think of my friend who texted me a question about that and send her the good price on things. And then she likewise would know that, well, the Russells use such and such in their house, so if I see it on a great price, I'll send her a picture of it and tell her what store I saw it. Start getting familiar with some of the apps in your area. There's one here in our town called Flash Food, and that's basically food that the store has reduced because of overstock or because it expires within the next few days. One thing that we've done during this height of the price changes right now is to offer trades for people. So we have a friend who has chickens and they were getting overrun with eggs, and we have beef that we purchased that we get at a really, really good price for very high quality beef. And I offered a trade. I said, hey, would you like to trade $5 worth of beef for $5 worth of eggs? And it worked out really great for both of us because I had excess beef, she had excess eggs. Another item is if you have friends who have gardens that are doing really well, you can offer them baked goods in exchange for fresh vegetables and fruit. Sometimes they just want to get rid of stuff, and that's great. You can take it, use it for your family, but then still offer back things later on in the year that they might enjoy. Another thing to look into is couponing. Couponing used to be really big, then it kind of got shrunk a bit, but there's a lot of digital coupons that are still available. And if you have, say, 10 minutes before your grocery trip where you can just stop, sit down in your car for a minute before you go in, open up the app for the grocery that you're going to, and go through and click any coupons that relate to products you're buying. Sometimes there'll be free products in there. You would go ahead and pick those up even if they're not something you're necessarily going to use right away, because you can donate those items, help someone else who might use it. You can also just get lower prices on things, or sometimes percentage off on things. So I always check the apps before I go into the grocery if I have time. And another thing to do is to join some different Facebook groups or other online groups that talk about couponing. The final thing I want to talk about is that stocking up does cost money off your current grocery budget. And so if you're like me and you're a little bit shell-shocked with the grocery prices going up in your town, you may think it would be impossible for me to buy 12 extra of everything that's on sale this week. What you might want to do is set aside $5 or $10, and with that $5 or $10, you're going to systematically stock up on exactly the things that you know you'll use that are at their rock bottom prices. So $5 will go really far if you're getting a canned item. So when canned corn was on sale at our store in town last summer for 50 cents a can, I could get 10 cans right then with my $5. If I waited a week and went and bought a can of corn, it was $1.28. But if you don't want to get 12 cans of corn, I would go ahead and say get 3 or 4 extras of one thing, 3 or 4 extras of another thing, maybe one extra bag of something, and put those aside each week. But again, keeping track of what you have and where it is. And that will help you begin to slowly build up your stockpile, because then the next week when something comes up on your grocery list, you'll know I already have one of those. That week's money can go to cover some of the items you're stocking up on. So those are my best tips for trying to always get the best price at the grocery. I hope that these help you, and I hope that you're inspired by this. What are some things that you've done to keep your grocery costs down? I'd really love to hear below. And what other questions do you have about saving money at the grocery? Feel free to give me a question down below or send me an email. I hope that you're encouraged and hopeful that you can make a change in your grocery budget even as prices are changing and getting higher. I hope you have a blessed day. Take care. Thanks.